The biggest update that Brawl Stars has got in years is upon us, and it comes with some massive changes. I'm going to break it all down for you, including the 2 new brawlers Pierce and Glowbert, new skins, game modes, and big Brawl Pass changes that are coming. And I'm going to do it in the fastest way possible. So let's start off with the biggest change first, the addition of Buffies. But first, what's a Buffy? Well, a Buffy is a keychain for your brawler that buffs the abilities of that brawler's gadget, star power, or hypercharge. Eventually, every brawler will have 3 Buffies. Even though you may have 2 gadgets or star powers for a brawler, 1 Buffy will affect both gadgets or both star powers in a different way. You can equip all 3 Buffies at the same time, providing a huge increase to the power and utility of your brawler. 6 brawlers will be receiving these Buffies in the first update, and like hypercharges, there will be more released every update. The 6 brawlers that are getting Buffies in this first one are going to be Colt, Mortis, Spike, Shelly, Frank, and Ems. One important note to understand here when seeing the gameplay is that Brawl Stars is taking the addition of Buffies as their opportunity to rework and overhaul some abilities on brawlers, but I'll explain the changes as we move through these, and then I'm going to explain how you get them and how much they cost. With the addition of Buffies, it's important to note that all 6 of these brawlers that are getting Buffies have had their gadgets changed to now be aimable. For example, Shelly can now aim her dash wherever she wants instead of following her movement direction. As well as, whenever you aim a gadget, it will light up your gadget ring yellow, just like as if you were going to be using your super before. This is part of the new changes to the brawler circles, which gives you time to react to enemies aiming their gadgets at you. And since we were just talking about Shelly, let's get into the new Buffies, starting with her. Her first gadget, Clay Pigeons, remains the same, but with her new Buffy, if she hits an enemy, they will be slowed. The more you hit an enemy, the longer they're going to be slowed. Her dash gadget also stays unchanged, but now with her Buffy, she will gain invincibility while dashing, sort of like Max's gadget. This will give Shelly a much safer way to close the gap on enemies. Shelly's first star power slows enemies when they get hit by her super, and with her Buffy, it will now spawn 3 patches of fire at the end of her super. These patches will deal 640 damage per tick and last about 3 seconds. This one's not too crazy, but if your enemy is sitting in a patch of fire while slowed, that damage could add up. For her Band-Aid star power, whenever it triggers, Shelly will not only heal, but gain 20% movement speed for 3 seconds. And finally, her Hyper Buffy will increase her main attack projectile speed like crazy whenever she's in her hyper form. Those are some fast bullets. It feels like Shelly has 2 kits you can play around with. One, where you can focus slowing down an enemy, and the other is more centered around being more mobile and playing up close. Shelly didn't really have any major gadget reworks, but our next brawler, Colt, for sure does. His silver bullet remains the same as before, but with his Buffy, it'll deal 540 more damage than it currently does, as well as it's nearly twice as big. Colt's reload gadget is being completely removed and replaced with a new one. You can aim 2 quick shots that slow targets when hit. With his Buffy, these 2 shots will also steal ammo from enemies on hit. I can see this ammo stealing mechanic being extremely useful for Colt, especially up against assassins or tanks that want to get up all in his face. With one gadget, you've stolen all their ammo and slowed them down. They're pretty much dead. For Colt's first star power, on top of the normal increased movement speed, whenever he hits an enemy with a shot, he'll gain a little burst of speed if he has a star power Buffy equipped. Using his other star power increases his range as normal, but the Buffy for this one will increase the damage he deals the further he is from the target, similar to how Piper's shots work. However, in the Brawl Talk video, it doesn't seem to show any extra damage, so I don't know how much it will be, but that's what they said it's going to be, so just imagine he deals 1 billion damage at range. We don't know. However, Colt's Hypercharge Buffy looks insane. His bullets fly much faster and closer together when he's in hyper form, and he looks like he will be able to completely laser people with his main attack. But Colt isn't the only brawler with a new gadget. Spike's got one too, and his gadget that literally no one ever uses is being replaced with something that actually looks useful. Spike's gadget now throws out 5 needles in a cone shape, and each of these deal 1200 damage. So if an enemy is close enough to you, you'll be able to gadget them for 6000 damage instantly. Yeah, that's kind of broken. And if that wasn't bad enough, his Buffy makes it so that if you hit an enemy with 2 of the 5 spikes, they will be rooted in place, making them unable to move, but still attack. So 6,000 damage and a root. That's not okay. No thank you. One thing to note though is that in the video, they said that his gadget shoots in 2 waves and roots enemies if 3 of the 5 spikes hit the enemy. But in the gameplay they showed us, it proves different. So I'm just gonna go with what I can see in the video. His second gadget is staying the same, but now you're able to aim and throw this plant a pretty far distance. With his Buffy, whenever his plant explodes and heals, the radius will also deal damage and push enemies back. Now I don't know exactly how the damage works, but in this clip, Sam is face to face with Spike's gadget and it explodes in his face, dealing 3,000 damage to him. It's a lot of damage, so I'd advise you stay away from that gadget, unless of course you're on his team, then hug the cactus, I suppose. Spike's fertilizer star power is getting a great rework. Instead of needing to stand on top of your super to get healed, you will now get healed for a percentage of the damage dealt by this super. This turns a very defensive star power into one that can be used very aggressively. And for the star power, if you have his Buffy, the super will get deployed much faster, making it harder for enemies to avoid. Now for Spike's dreaded curveball star power, it gets even crazier. And honestly, I don't want to play against that. And finally, during his hypercharge, if he has the Buffy for it, his attacks will explode twice during the duration of his hyper. So that's double the curveball. Great. So excited to play against that. And then we have Ems. Her first gadget shoots her hairspray through walls, and like the other ones, you'll be able to aim this one as well. The buff from her Buffy will slow enemies if they are hit by this spray. Her second gadget is similar in ability, but looks much different. Instead of a 360 knockback radius around Ems, she will now spray a small radius in front of her, pushing her enemies back even further. So you get less coverage, but you do push your enemies back further. With her Buffies, enemies knocked back into walls will be stunned for a short while, just like Gale's star power on his super. Her first star power, Bad Karma, increases the damage that she deals the longer enemies stay in her spray, but with her Buffy, enemies who take damage from Ems will have their damage reduced for a short while. Now we don't see how much it reduces it in the Brawl Talk, but it's a passive damage reduction for Ems, which is always a great ability. Her second star power heals her whenever enemies take damage from her super, but if she has her Buffy for it, activating her super will give her a 1-second invincibility shield. And finally, Ems' hypercharge stays the same, but enemies who take damage from her while in her hypercharge will be poisoned. We don't know how long the poison lasts, but this Grom took 4 ticks of 420 damage, which is an extra 1,680 damage, which you do not want to be caught in that. Frank got some really cool changes to both of his gadgets. His first one, which grants him immunity to crowd control for a short duration, now has an extra aimable ability. He can aim and fire a small cone-shaped sound wave which deals 1,260 damage, and he also gains that crowd control immunity. If you have his Buffy, enemy projectiles caught in the sound wave will be destroyed, which this is a very cool gadget from Frank. It gives him almost like a Buster-like ability. His second gadget actually feels like a bit of a nerf, but also a buff. Currently, using this gadget makes his attack deal 50% extra damage or 3,480 damage with a max Frank, and it pulls enemies towards him. The new rework changes a lot of this gadget's mechanics. First off, instead of dealing 3,480 damage, it now deals 1,000 damage less. More importantly, the pool is not part of his main attack radius anymore and now has a much thinner projectile. However, on the upside, his gadget does look to have a much longer range and being able to pull enemies from further, as well as it doesn't use one of his main attacks. And people don't know that you're going to use it because there's not some little halo around your head. You can surprise them like that. You always see that one Frank just walking around with a little circle. You're like, well, not going to get near him. Now, they didn't specify what the Buffy for this gadget does, but in the Brawl Talk, we can see enemies hit by this pull are extremely slow, so it could be a slow, which his gadget did used to do. I really like the changes to Frank's gadgets. The addition of a bullet-destroying sound wave and the changes to his pull gadget pushes Frank's skill ceiling higher and makes him a bit more difficult to play, but also more rewarding. Now, Frank's first star power increases his damage whenever he defeats an enemy brawler, but with his Buffy, he will also suck the life out of them, healing himself for 1,120 health for a couple of ticks. Now, we don't know how many ticks, but at least 2. Now, before we get to his second star power, I just want to point out the fact here that Frank has 14,000 health here instead of his normal 1,340. But it's not just Frank. In fact, pretty much every brawler in Brawl Talk has received a health buff. So I'm guessing that they are buffing all the brawlers' health to help compensate for the added Buffy power creep, or maybe they just decided to send them all to the gym to bulk up. I don't know. So if we use Frank's second star power, which gives him an extra 1,400 health, he'll have 15,400 health. But wait, there's more, because with his Buffy, he will take 15% less damage when above 50% health. Doing some quick maths, that turns your Frank's 15,400 hit points into an effective 16,555 health. That is one meaty man. And with Frank's hypercharged Buffy, his main attacks are all super speed, which looks pretty darn OP. And for the last brawler being reworked, it's none other than the man himself, Mortis. I don't know who wrote that, but Mortis. Mortis's combo spinner gadget can now be aimed further around him, or you can still auto-aim it to spin in the center of him as it does now. Now, they didn't tell us what the Buffy does to this gadget, but later on in the video, we see him use this on Max at low health, and it deals a crit. So, I'm going to guess that it deals extra damage to low hit point brawlers. But his second gadget? Oh boy, this one is sick. What used to be an increase to his reload speed has now turned into the ability to turn Mortis into the creature of the night that he was always meant to be, and he can now phase through walls. With his Buffy, anyone in Mortis's path will take 1,520 damage, and it'll leech that health back to him. This has got to be one of the coolest gadgets in the game, and I can't wait to try it out. Mortis's first star power heals him for 20% of his max health whenever he defeats an enemy, except for now, with his Buffy, he gains a max health buff until he is defeated. Looking closely at the video, you can see that his health goes from 9,500 to 10,000 after taking down a brawler, so 500 health buff every time he takes down a brawler, and it doesn't go away until he dies. I bet we are going to see some crazy Mortis players stacking up his health to like 50 trillion, quadrillion, million, billion. It's a number. I mean, I'll probably only get like 2 kills, but I mean, hey, that's an extra 1,000 health. Mortis' second star power, Coil Snake, charges his long dash quicker, but with the help of his Buffy, also will give him a shield during his long dash. Now, in the video, Max only deals 384 damage to Mort instead of her normal 640, meaning that Mortis gains a 40% shield with this Buffy, which is not bad at all. And finally, for his Buffy hypercharge, every time Mortis dashes, he will spawn a little small purple circle on the ground. That will spawn a bat and follow him, and if it hits anybody, it'll deal 2,100 damage to anything in its path. This, of course, is only active during his hypercharge and with his Buffy. So then, how will you get these Buffies, and what will they cost? Each Buffy is going to be able to be pulled out of a claw machine. And when the update drops, your first Buffy will be free. This first claw machine will have 18 possible Buffies in it, 3 from each brawler that's getting them. Each pull from the claw machine costs 2,000 power points and 1,000 coins. Now, if you've collected all 18 Buffies, then you can use the machine to pull a bling Buffy for 10,000 bling. Doesn't give you anything extra, it just looks cool. Oh my God. Very, very expensive. Now, along with these changes, they were removing all mythic and epic gears from the game. If you've purchased them in the past, they will be removed from your account, but you will be refunded the purchase price that you paid. The Brawl Pass is also getting huge changes. But before I tell you about that, we have to talk about the 2 new brawlers. Finally, Brawl Stars has given us some brawlers that are not assassins. The first one is named Pierce, and he is a legendary marksman brawler that is the last brawler in the Velociraptors trio alongside Buzz and Doug. Hey! Pierce has the unenviable job of clearing out the pool if he finds that somebody has peed in it. Don't make that face. We've all done it. And it's warm. Pierce has 6,000 hit points at max level, and for a sniper, that's actually really solid. So he is decently sturdy, and as a marksman, his range is very far, which is to say it's about the same range as a standard marksman. His main attack deals 1,900 damage, except for the last bullet in his gun, which will deal 3,000 damage. So his damage is good, but it's not like out of the ordinary. What is new is the way his shots and reloading work. Every time he fires, he drops a shell, which looks like a little water orb. You only drop a shell, though, if you hit your target. You're going to want to pick these up as you fire because there are only 2 ways to reload his shots. Either A, you pick up a shell off the ground, or you fire all your shots and you wait for a long reloading bar to fill. However, there is more reason to pick up these shells than just to reload his ammo. Every time you pick up a shell, it automatically fires a little shot at the nearest target. If that hits its target, it deals 1200 damage, and it has the added benefit of being able to go through walls. It can pierce walls. Pierce can pierce walls. So if you can hit every shot, you will be able to fire off your main attack as well as the little free attack infinitely. I'm going to assume that this works on the high safe as well, and if it does, that will be really insane damage. What's also insane is his super. With this, he marks a spot at range, and for every brawler within the circle, it will fire off a shot. If this shot hits, it will deal 3200 damage per bullet. A couple of times we see two brawlers that were closely stacked together. They're so close together that when he fires off his shots, two of the bullets are so tight on each other that it actually looks like one bullet, but you can tell that it's two because when it hits a target, it deals 6,400 damage. And if that's possible, that means that if three brawlers were stacked together, it fires off all three bullets right condensed on top of each other. A triple condensed shot could deal 9,600 damage. That's pretty unlikely, and after he fires, it's essentially an auto aim, but still, that's a bunch of damage. They very briefly mentioned his star powers and gadgets, but didn't specify which was which. I did see a gadget animation around him when he looks to like he activated a knockback and shield combo, so that's probably one of his gadgets. Now, they also said that he could slow enemies, but didn't go into details on that, so maybe a star power. The last thing about Pierce was that they mentioned that there was going to be some new changes to the Brawler release event since he is a legendary brawler. And again, they didn't go into detail, but we did see that there are going to be 40 tickets instead of the usual 30. We don't know how many wins it's going to take to unlock him though. I'm sure it's going to be a lot. Also, it showed a refill timer. I don't know if they're going to go back to the old system of just getting a few tickets every day or how that's actually going to work because it said like 13 of 40. I'm not sure, but more info on that soon. But the new brawlers don't stop at Pierce because we are also getting another brawler with Glowbert. I love that name, Glowbert. They didn't mention Glowbert's rarity, but looking at the mechanics, they're all pretty new. I'm going to guess that he's probably at least a mythic. His attack is kind of 2-in-1. He can fire at a friendly target, attaching a light to them, and continuously heal them as long as that light is locked onto them. But also he can attack enemies, and that attack works the same way except it deals damage rather than healing. Glowbert has 6,800 hit points at max level. His main shot looks to be like a long range, but not like sniper range, more like a medium long range. His heal continuously gives 180 hit points per tick, and his damage looks to deal an initial 500 damage and then 200 per tick after that. And while yes, those numbers are very low, the tick happens really fast, so you don't want this guy following you around and latched onto you. Unless, of course, he's on your team, then let's go. For his super, he also has a new mechanic, and that is a fear. The super is a very wide cone that has a medium range. It deals 1,500 damage, and it will fear anyone caught in it, causing them to lose control of the brawler and turn and move the opposite way from Glowbert. This is going to be a great defensive ability for him, as his damage is not going to be enough to ward off aggressive brawlers. For one of his gadgets, I noticed the animation go off, and then the damage and healing ticks were coming at near double the rate, so it looks like pressing that gadget will ramp up damage or healing for a short amount of time, as well as I noticed that sometimes he was healing himself as well as his teammate, which might be one of his star powers. Then there was this little dash and heal thing that he did. I'm guessing that's a gadget too. Pierce will be coming in December and Glowbert in January. They both honestly look really cool, and I'm going to put them to test against every other brawler in the game in upcoming sneak peeks, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see those very soon. Okay, so Brawl Pass. There's good news, and then there's bad news. The bad news is the price is going up. The good news is that it's also getting a major buff to both progression and cosmetics. Now, I made an in-depth video on these changes, so I'm not going to cover them all in depth again. You can watch that video for a full in-depth breakdown, but I'll give you the TLDR version right here. There are going to be quite a few new items in the pass called keys. There are 4 different types. There's a resource key that can be exchanged for the progression of your choice, brawler keys that can be exchanged for brawlers, and you can actually save them up to unlock higher rarity brawlers. The more rare the brawler, the more keys it's going to cost. There's Buffy keys that let you unlock a Buffy of your choice, and skin keys that let you unlock the skins from the season, or if you want, you can go into the new skin vault and unlock some of the older Brawl Pass skins as well. The pass will also be 10 tiers longer than before, and overall, you're getting a pretty sizable buff across the board. Here's a chart that shows all the changes, so screenshot it, commit it to memory, or just do like me and enter code LEX and then buy it, because the Brawl Pass is always the best value in the game. And if you do use code LEX, thank you very much. I truly do appreciate you. Now, something else that is also new on the pass and very cool are Chaos Drops. Now, Chaos Drops are a new type of star drop that you will get on the pass and sometimes even in your daily win reward. With these, the lowest rarity you can get is a super rare, but it can go all the way up past legendary to be an ultra star drop. And as if that wasn't enough, these Chaos Drops can split, and whatever rarity you ended up on, you will give you up to 8 of those rarity of star drops. So potentially, you can get 8 ultra star drops. So what's in an ultra star drop, you might ask? Well, I got a little chart here that shows you just that. It can even be an ultra legendary brawler, although the chances are not good. But we aren't done yet because there are even more new things that are coming. First off, Gigi is getting her hypercharge. With this hypercharge, her super will deal damage when arriving as well as leaving. And boy does she need it because she stinks. Then we have some brand new game modes. The first one is called Safe Blast. It's heist, but with bombs. You throw bombs at the high safe, you blow it up. Then there is a 2v2 wipeout style mode where you don't kill the opponents with shots, kind of like Dodge Brawl, but you kill them with love in the form of a bomb. I'm guessing that that's probably going to be the Brawl Times event for next year. There's also a 2v2 boss fight mode with some new bosses, as we see a massive Squeak and a Colette. And finally, we have a bunch of really cool skins. You're going to want to see these. The first season is going to be crime related, and they're merging steampunk with crime, starting with the Brawl Pass skin, Steampunk Stew. There are 2 chroma variations with Crime Lord and Iced Out Stew as well. The animations on this one look sick, but Brawl is actually going to be releasing 2 skins of the season now that you'll be able to get both of them with the Brawl Pass Plus. The other one is Steampunk Gale with his Tommy gun firing out gears. Fancy Man and Dapper Gale are the chroma variations. There's Peaky Sam, who resembles an English mobster from the 1920s. The one I really like, though, is Boss Brock. The shots on this look amazing, and the model looks so clean and slick. Kaze is getting a legendary skin with Clockwork Kaze, and bro, look at that super animation. It's so good. And the skin changes depending on what form you're in. For the Brawl Times season, Rico is getting Heartbroken, but at least he gets some cool skins. There's also Breakup and Revenge Rico, and they're the chroma variations, and I actually really dig the shot animations on these. The other skin of the season is for Angelo with Brawl Times Angelo. Adonis and Snatched are the chroma variations, but if I had to pick one, the Rico one is way better. There's Brawl Times Bear Shade, which is, it's okay. But Love Potion Squeak is awesome, and it kind of reminds me of the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh yeah! Uh-oh!
Then finally for that season, there is Baddie Alley, who is all dressed up for her first date. Some other skins we're getting include Snow Globe Nani, Lunar Lotus Willow, which I really like this one, and then Esports Max for the World Final skins. Those shots look really cool. And there's actually even more coming, but you're going to have to wait for the sneak peeks for that. Come back tomorrow, and I'll show you more.